Alright, working with the first thing. One thing to start focusing on that does need to be focused on in order to play very clean is after you leave your E string, you want to make sure that your index finger ends up right underneath the E string. So not on top of it, so that happens, but right underneath it, so that happens. So just barely underneath it, and don't have your finger up on the tip. Basically, the tip of your finger needs to be up underneath the E string. You want to be more flat when you're fretting these things. So when you're doing things like that, you will be muting adjacent strings, which is something needed, especially when playing with a lot of distortion. So this does tie into chord playing as well. So the only time like you don't want to do that is like doing chords like this, where you need to have your fingers on the tips. And if they're not on the tips, then you're going to be muting things. So most of the music, that you mentioned, the stuff that I teach anyway, you need to have your fingers actually more flat, especially the index finger. This is to make sure that you're muting the adjacent strings. So for the beginning, just focus on getting comfortable with your fingers moving to these places, to these notes, and before trying to follow along with the metronome here. So again, when you leave the A or the E string going to the A string, look at that index finger, make sure that it's up underneath. And check that index finger. And you see how it stays down the whole time? So when you do this, or like when you go 5, 7, 8, don't have your fingers up. 5, 7, 8, you should have all 3 fingers down. So when you go 7, 8, 10, you want your first, second, and fourth finger down. Same thing here, you should have all 3 fingers down. When you go back to the E string, it's going to be different. But basically, keep your fingers down as much as you can. If you don't need to take it off the fretboard, don't do it. So here it is at 60 when you're ready to follow along. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here is 80. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here it is at 100. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 120. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, number 2, index finger the whole time, just making sure that it's up underneath the E string. You should also have your finger flat enough so it's touching the other strings as well. So mine is laying across the D, G, B, and E, only fretting the A string. I'm going to get it right up underneath that E string, okay? So if you have it up on the tip, you're not going to be able to mute those strings. If you have it too flat, you're going to be making a chord. You don't want to hear the E string ring out like that. Get up underneath it. So you gotta get a little thunk. So I'm going to double this at the same 4 speeds here, and when you're ready, I'd like you to follow along. Here we go, 60. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure you hit both the E and the A string, because if you're not hitting the E string, then you're not able to tell if you're truly muting it or not. So definitely want to hit both. Very important to do so. All right, 80 beats a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. $100. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 120. 1, 2, 3, 4. And number 3, I'll hold some chords and arpeggiate them. So when you're ready, I want you to follow along here. So here we go, 60 beats a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. 100. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 20, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, and that is that. So not a big deal if you don't get all the way to the 120 on any of these. Just got those various speeds there so you have something to follow along with when you're ready. And if any questions come up, let me know. I'll see you again next week.